Hello guys, Angel here. Wanting to make a quick video about my thoughts of the Endwalker expansion so far. I just finished the MSQ halfway point of the expansion and wanted to put my thoughts out there before I move on, keep it fresh. This video will contain a lot of spoilers. If you haven't played through Endwalker, please turn around. This is not the video for you. I would have a warning in the title as well, but take this as your heads up. Okay, spoilers from now on. And holy crap, man, I just finished the moon part of the story and I am impressed with the developers so far. I knew that after the writing in Shadowbringers we would be expecting something great as well from Endwalker, but I wasn't expecting this for sure. I have so many things I want to say, so I'll try to go over them. I have my list over here. I'll go in order per zone, and then I'll tag my overall thoughts on the expansion so far. Just a note, I just finished the part where the Charlayan form reveals to the public the information about the final days and the moon ship. I'm gonna be covering everything from the start of expansion up to that point. I haven't played anything after that. I will be playing after this. That's a heads up. So for the first two zones, Daphne and Labyrinthos, as well as the city of Old Charlayan and all the characters we meet up to that point. I was expecting the mystery tone, the annoyance from the Charlayans. You can feel it. It's a little bit slow at the beginning of the expansion. I think the tone was well written. The characters we meet along the way allow for Alfino and Alice to continue growing even more and prepare them for the third zone. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think that if anything, I wanted to get a little bit more into the Charlayans' background and history more than what we get at the beginning, but I'm sure that they will be expanding on that for the second part of the expansion. And as for Daphne and Rasahan, I really enjoyed the twists that involved Vitra. When I started playing the zone, I was kind of expecting some kind of a twist that involved this Vashna child thing. I call it coming from a mile ago, but I still love the development with both the Tower of Sod and the Nidhana storyline. I really enjoyed that. Then we have the emotion flower that we pick up from the Labyrinthos. Again, it was a turn that we were expecting from the trailer, but I didn't expect it to have such an importance to the story and to ourselves as the Warriors of Light. The Nidhana scene after we finished the Tower of Sod was great. I think that the color changing from the flower really reflects our feelings as the players when we're going through the story, and I think it was a really smart move from the developing team to put that small detail in the story. I don't know if it's gonna have like a huge implication at the end of 6.0, but for sure it's having an emotional impact on me as I'm playing through the story right now. Again, all this video I'm trying to get out in one take, just my thoughts overall of this story, and I don't want to make it too long, so I'm going to try to keep going as fast as I can. The Fandaniel identity reveal. I was never expecting to be a Allagan, much less Aemon. Since we do kind of kill Aemon in the Crystal Tower raid series, I wasn't expecting him to be the incarnation of that character, but it was a well-received development, and I think that it makes sense with the character that we get to know from Sandy, that he would pick such a guy for his right hand, and how even to this date and Daniel kept trying to follow his heart and what he thought was right, even if it meant destroying everything, because that in the end was Sandy's last will, right? When the Allagan Empire falls and Sandy dies, that was the thing that Aemon took from him, wanted to give closure to everything. Which for a villain, even if it's not as deep as Emmet Selk or Elidibus, I think it was a well-written development for the character. And I know there's gonna be a lot of people that never really like Van Daniel's character, but I think that his role in this story is so integral to the development of our own character that it makes sense that it works this way. So yeah, and then after that we get the kind of last supper with our friends at Charlayan, where we have dinner with I believe it was Rehatia, Trial, Alfino, and Alice. Of course, Estinian decided to decline the invitation, but the flower one more time glows, this time green, I believe, which I take to signify as friendship. And then we have the next part where we finally decide to set our sights to Garlemald, a development which I believe that a lot of us have been waiting for many years, because we've always wanted to face the Empire, their side of the story, and try to really take them down after all the destruction and the innocent lives they've taken. Even if some of us took the Empire as a little bit of a cliche at the beginning of the story, I think that Garlean Empire has become a well-written, real place with real people, and I believe that this following zone that we get to visit Garlemald is a culmination of a well-written city and people. I was worried to be shown a cookie-cutter story about friendship and how, we come here to make friends, guys, join us into defending the world, and they would accept that, and we would be joining hands, and it would be nice, but it would be like a little bit cliche. I was not expecting what happened in the Garlemald, so holy crap was I gladly surprised by the dark turn of events that it takes. But I'm gonna start over from the beginning. The instance where we are defending the caravan and we do this mission with Tancred, infiltrate and destroy the Magitech, I believe. It was a really interesting turn of events, and I enjoyed the mission as well. The stealthy mission that we kind of lack in Final Fantasy. I wish we had more of that as players, but we don't know. Their Yoshi P's team has always been very experimental in terms of what they're willing to implement in the game, so I appreciate at least the effort of putting this in. I wish we had more missions like that. And then we have the part where we met the support team that we're going to be bringing into Garlemald, and I was so glad that they brought these supporting characters back into the story that I was wishing we could see more of. Even if you only play like the White Mage job quest, or you play the Machinist quest, we get a lot of that, and I enjoy these characters coming back, as well as the Thaumaturge guilds coming into play here from Ul'dah. It was lovely. I love seeing all these characters come into the story, and more importantly, interact with each other, growing their bonds and making this world feel even more alive than it was before, to me at least. So I really love that part, and getting to see the introductions of the team and their specializations and what they were going to be doing for the mission. And then we get to actually go into the outside part of Garlemald, which is the new zone, the third zone. I thought the city and everything that is contained in that zone is great. You really feel the dread, the creepiness, the despair of the citizens. When you see the developments of the death of these two sisters at the beginning, and you see the impact it has on Alphinaud and Alice, and how they grow as siblings, because they see, holy crap, these people that we're trying to save, they hate us so much that they would rather die than be saved. That is such a dark turn of events for a story that I appreciate, because I myself am a really big fan of dark stories, Dark Dawn stories, and how the Eorzean Alliance have grown so much as a culture that they're able to move past this hatred that the Garlean citizens have for them and try to save them all. How much the Scions as well have grown, not taking the violence as their first recourse and really trying to smooth out their options, not to destroy everything that is already destroyed in the city. And then you get to really interact with the First Legion and the 10th Legion, I believe it was, with their secret base, and how this last bastion of the Garlemald militants really trying to bring everyone together from the Empire to retake the throne for Baris. The radius was a really nice touch, how the radius was able to keep everyone from becoming tempered, and the citizens were holding so dear to the voice of their old emperor to try to hold on to hope in the moment where they're starving. And that was also really impactful for me, how you get to their secret base and the people are literally starving. They barely have any energy to keep the heat alive, they barely have any weapons left, they're trying to scavenge whatever they can to survive. And that really struck a chord with me, because I love that kind of real people story, trying to struggle to survive. And the part in where you join Julius, which is a new character from the Garlean Empire, you help him try to get supplies from the park, and you see the desolation, the darkness, the destruction of their own city, their lives, families. It was really written. I love this area, man. I think it's one of the best zones in Final Fantasy XIV to the date. And I support wholly all these encompasses for the future of the game and the direction that they can take with their own story. Perhaps some people will find it a little bit too cruel, too rough, but I think it's a good turn for the game in the long run. And talking about the long run of the game, I was also worried, like many people, that Xenos and Fandango were going to be too shallow of a villain. They were going to ruin somehow the depth we've come to attain from Shadowbringers. But I'm glad to say that, at least in my opinion, at least at the point where I am in the story, they were great additions to the villains cast, and they really brought something different to the story than we have seen before, especially when we reach the part where we are abducted as the heroes and we are extracted from our body and put into this random soldier. Not only is that a really nice and intelligent design for the survival mission that we get after that, which wasn't really easy at all. It was really hard for me, at least. Maybe you guys had some luck and you had it easier than me, but I spent like an hour on that. It was really hard, but really interesting to see the kind of experimental missions and instances that we are getting. I hope that they continue to push that kind of experimental mission forward and see if we can develop more interesting modes in the game for that. I enjoy it really, and not only that, from the lore perspective, you get a lot of introspection into your own character. I think that some people might think it was a little bit boring and cliche, but I think that it really adds to the development of our own character, which is a development that we haven't seen that much in the game so far. We have seen some of it and it's pretty good, but I think it really builds up on the pressure that we are holding on our shoulders the whole world, and it feels so much more impactful when we are able to do something so small as saving our own friends. And of course, talking about world changing, we get to finally visit the moon through chasing Pandaniel and Xenos. A great part of the story as well. I love the moon. I love the lore behind. I forgot the name of the actual installation. Lari Lamentum, I think it was. How we get to interact a little bit more with the actual spirits of the ancients that sacrifice themselves to bring forward Zodiac. I had a feeling that we were going to face Zodiac earlier, but I didn't expect to be the first trial we faced, right? When we are revealed that Daniel wanted all this time was to fuse himself with Zodiac so that he could die and bring the end of the days as it is, keep his word to Sante. Even though a lot of people will say how Daniel is a very shallow villain, I really love his story, and it makes sense that he would try to do the things he did. The impact he has is that we are forced to take on Zodiac. At level 84, I was surprised. We've been building Zodiac to be the god of destruction from the day one of the ARR, and we just suddenly are thrown into a fight against him. He is not fully complete, he's 7 times rejoined, sure, but it is a god that we are facing here. Primal of primals, right? The trial where we face Zodiac, and the music on the background was great. But I love the fight, I love the mechanics, the lore was great, the music was great. I would say 10 out of 10 for the fight, man, and it was really impactful for the story as well. And after that, we realized the things we've done and that we have unleashed by mistake or perhaps willingly the end of days. And Daniel's objective was never to recreate anything. He was actually willing to bring back the end of days as it was, not their recreation. So we are faced with the decision of what are we supposed to do to stop this apocalypse, right? And then we get the reveal that the moon is actually a shit to save humanity, and that's when my mind exploded, dude, that they will be willing to take this direction because it's a really risky one for such a big game. Like, think about it. We've been in this game for what, 4 expansions now? It's a really successful game. If we take this travel to the stars route and we do it wrong, we could really screw things up for everyone. First of all, I admire that Enix is willing to take this risk. Well, Yoshi P really, but I admire his balls, dude. It is really risky decision to take the direction of the game through here, even if they don't, like, in the end decide to. And I don't know what happens. Again, I am halfway through the game, through the expansion. But even if they don't decide to take us to another star and another new world, even if they stay here, end up with this being one more plot, I think that it is really ballsy, and I admire it for trying it. Because there's a lot of games out there that try this space travel gimmick and really goes wrong. And I'm glad to see they really thought it through, and it is well written. I also appreciated that these characters, the Leopards, the bunnies, are a comic relief. They're a contrast with all these dark tones we've seen in Garlemald, and then going to the moon, the destruction, the apocalypse, and then we have like these lighter tones in the story that we really need, without being like silly, right? Because sometimes the stories will try to introduce these silly characters just because we need some laughs and make no sense at all. I think that the Leopards are really wholesome and funny at the same time, without trying to be too hard into that side of things. And finally, the part when we are trying to collect our thoughts with the Scions, and we get the reveal that the Charlian Forum, which we already knew, but the Charlian Forum are aware of the end of days, and they were working with the Leopards from the 300 years ago, and they are announcing it to the public before we can do anything about it. So now we're faced with the decision, how can we save this world on the reflections? The ship, the moon ship, cannot bring the reflection people from other worlds with us, so we would be effectively sacrificing all these people that either don't want to come with us and they're staying in the Eorzea or star, which I believe it's called Ether Theories. I forgot the name, sorry. They're willing to stay and die in the star, or the reflections that are also going to be destroyed after the source is destroyed. So it's a really impactful decision that we have to make as Scions. Should we support the forum and try to evacuate, or try to fight for our survival with everyone else? And I believe that whatever direction the game takes from here to the end of 6.0, which I'm going to continue playing from now on, I think it's great, and I fully support all the decisions they've made. I think it's a great expansion, and I think that even though there's some slower parts, which we always get at expansion, it's worth the wait. That's about it, guys. I probably forgot a couple stuff, but I'll make more videos in the future. If you guys want to discuss this with me, want to engage with me, please leave comments. I would love to chat with more people, and if you guys enjoy my content, just please make sure to subscribe and click the notification button. Leave a comment, a like, and I'll catch you guys next time. Loving the game. I hope you guys are having a great release, and I'm loving the story as well. And I'll catch you guys next time.